That's so fun.
Right?
Thanks for doing that.
I mean, we had a lot of material to work with because this woman is nonstop. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm so happy to be with you.
Yeah.
Anything for you.
Yeah. Let me tell you what I love most. I love a lot of things about this woman right here, but let me tell you what I love most about her. She is probably one of the most graceful human beings I have ever met. Her heart is so big, and she loves really hard. And I have just been really in love with her spirit from the first minute that I met her. She has single-handedly been firefighting and standing up for democracy on so many fronts for so long. And so it is an honor to be here in conversation with you today. Can we give another round of applause to our first partner?
Kimberly, that's so beautiful. You feel really far away. Can I get closer to her? I'm feeling, I? This is too much. Thank you, love.
Yes.
No,
yes.
So special.
Okay, so even with your title, First Partner, you've redefined the role of what it means to be a political spouse. Why did you take on the title specifically First Partner as opposed to the historical First Lady? And what has surprised you most about the role?
Thank you. So First Partner to me was a signal that we will have a female governor in California.
That's right.
And that we will have an LGBTQ plus governor. And that partnership makes the world go round.
That's right.
That behind every leader, there is not just an individual, there is a team. It is about partnership. It's how we move our country, our state, our world forward. It's all about transformational partnership. And none of us, despite this United States rugged individualistic mentality, none of us get where we do on our own. And it's just important to bring that back. Because we are living in a time and an age where people are isolated and alienated and where there's so much division. And because of that, we have to really, really connect around partnership and around focusing on how we can lift each other up and how we can each do our part to move this state, this country, this world forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've worked a lot in the media world, and in the media world, it's kind of a looky-loo, right? Looks matter, unfortunately, too much in this country. How do we balance the complexity of the word beauty and healthy body image?
Yeah. So, I mean, I always tell the girls that I work with and my message to those who, at the Representation Project and the people that are part of our larger community, the organization that I founded after Misrepresentation premiered at Sundance Film Festival in 2011, what I tell them is, figure out what makes you feel good, your hair, your makeup, your clothes, your exercise, whatever, but focus, have that be a really small sliver of the day, of the pie, and then spend the rest of your time learning, developing skills, developing your voice, practicing mindfulness, being other-oriented, being service-oriented, and just developing all those aspects of your whole persona, of your whole being. And I think that social media, what's interesting is when I kind of came forward with this message, social media hadn't quite taken off yet. And so it's really been this backlash, right? And it's an onslaught, right? Where girls are getting this message, women are getting this message, that they're not enough constantly. That if they bought this or did this, that maybe then they could be enough, but then again, they're still never enough, and then it requires plastic surgery and this and that, and it's insane. And so it's really, when we talk about beauty, it's got to be about inner beauty. It's got to be about, and that's like where I so connect with you. You're a beautiful woman, but you have this inner beauty and this inner strength. And I say that because we all have it.
That's right.
It's just about acknowledging it and learning to love yourself despite your shortcomings or perceived shortcomings, and really channeling that which you can control, which is your kindness, which is your you know, the connection, the service orientation. And I think we'd be a much healthier world if we didn't buy into this patriarchal construct, right? That really is about distracting us. And that's for me what I like to tell young women, like stop, because you are just being so distracted from developing your voice, developing your power, and actually standing in your power. And the reason the world is so messed up is because we've all been held down, and now we have to break out and break up and recognize that who we are from above or from, you know, the earth is enough. Yeah. And it's powerful and it's mighty and it has tremendous intuition and it knows what's right. Yeah. And it is going to fix and solve some of these seemingly insurmountable problems that, you know, from climate change to wealth inequality to war to mental health. It requires us standing in our innate God-given spirits and beings to actually fix these problems in partnership with our allies, with our male allies. But they can't keep doing what they're doing because they've messed us all up.
That's right. Well, speaking of breaking up and breaking out, you know, oftentimes California gets a lot of credit for being super progressive and forward and trailblazer status. And in many ways we are. And also in many ways we have a lot of work to do across the state, in our cities, even here in San Francisco. One of the things that I love most about Catherine Stephanie, who's running, is when she wins, not if she wins, but when she wins in November, finally, San Francisco will have representation in the assembly. Today, San Francisco has 0 representation in the state assembly right now. So we have to get more women running and more women elected. Yes. But what do you think, with all the stuff that's out there, the distractions, what's the biggest obstacle that's still facing women and girls from reaching their full potential, but also from us reaching equity, and also for boys?
Yeah. I mean, it's the patriarchy, right? Yes. Because the patriarchy is telling boys that, well, it's behind technologies that are reinforcing this narrative that boys are the rightful leaders and that boys have the right to wealth opportunities and that women are objects for their not just gaze, but control. So the patriarchy is messing boys and men up. And then the patriarchy is just reinforcing this scarcity mindset amongst many of us that, again, is distracting us from who's at the top, who's really in charge, who's really controlling, you know, the puppet strings. And so, you know, for me, a lot of this is about wealth and power. And we know that pay inequity is one of the reasons women have such little wealth in our country. And we also know that in terms of representation, if you don't have seats at the tables of power, your power doesn't mean as much. So, you know, 2 of the areas that I've really focused on are the California Equal Pay Pledge and strengthening women's representation on public company boards in California, in particular diverse women on public company boards, because, and we are achieving both. But again, without wealth and without power, and by power I mean without a seat at the table of power, we're knocking on the door, we're not making decisions that are critical to the fate and future, not just of a product, but to our state, our country, our world. These are where very, very important decisions are made. And so that's why I've kind of like honed in on that. The other piece that I think, you know, it's coming out through some of our work in government, but also through this next documentary that I'm working on, is the piece around harassment and violence towards women. Because we know that when women are harassed, when women are violated physically or sexually, that, again, there's trauma and a distraction from pursuing their goals, from having agency, from being able to stand in their full power and realize their human potential. And so I would say, I mean, you know, sadly, I don't think there's one thing. I think there's these multiple things that we have to tackle and address. And because we have these lived experiences of being harassed, of being violated, of not being paid equitably, of having to knock to get in the room or have a seat at the table. Because the vast majority of us have experienced all of those things, not just one of them, it is necessary that we are at the tables of power so that we can change the systems that have excluded us and that ultimately have perpetuated the status quo.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about movies and film and filmmaking. You've been making films for a really, really long time, including the misrepresentation, the mask,
Live In, yeah.
and your project that you're working on right now. The Barbie movie. How many of you in here saw Barbie, the movie? Yeah. So we know it was a testament to the brilliance of women filmmakers, and Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig were completely snubbed at the Oscars. Boo.
Yeah. Yeah.
As someone who has worked in the entertainment industry for so long, what do you think it's going to take to shake misogyny and patriarchy out of the entertainment industry?
So, I mean, one of the reasons I testified last year is because we have to hold serial perpetrators accountable.
That's right.
And I also, yep. And we also have to take responsibility for enabling their bad behavior. A lot of people profited off of, in my case in particular, but in many cases, particular individuals' bad behavior. Yeah. So that's essential. Yeah. Number two, we have to mandate in some ways like we have in the VC industry, perhaps come up with a new legislative idea here, but no, there needs to be more transparency around dollars and investment in stories that are inclusive and representative. And there needs to be a financial mechanism because sadly we live in this capitalist society that without transparency and accountability for where dollars are spent and invested, you're just going to have a certain type of man be the gatekeeper for the stories in Hollywood that you all are seeing and exposed to. And it can't just be one woman at the top. It's always been one woman that we funded. And then we find our next woman and we stop funding her. Do you know what I mean? It's not, you cannot have one woman at the top.
That's right.
You need a sisterhood in
right.
partnership with a brotherhood. So, we've gone backwards, sadly, too. If you think about the content in 2023 that came out, only 30% of the top 100 films had as the main protagonist or co-lead a woman. That's 2010 levels. That when I was making Misrepresentation, we were there. I started in 2008. That was the level of representation that we were around in terms of, female protagonists and co-leads. So we've gone backwards, and we have to acknowledge that. And again, it's about creating workplace cultures in Hollywood that are family-friendly. Mm-hmm. Childcare is an issue and always will be until men step into a larger role of care at home.
That's right.
It's about paying women in the industry equitably. We have a problem there in Hollywood still, where we do not pay women equitably across the board. It's about dismantling the bro culture, which is very, very prolific in Hollywood. But it's inviting men into, all the good men, because there's so many good men, it's about inviting them into the conversation and helping them not feel afraid and not reactive, like they reacted to Me Too, and we're like, well, then we're not gonna work with any of you, right? I mean, there's that, extreme reaction, which is insane. It's just like, inviting them into the conversation and exposing them to the opportunities when you represent and reflect 51% of the population, which is women.
That's right.
And you let us, in all our complexities, tell our stories, all of our stories. That's right. So that's really what needs to happen. And I think, if government has to create, I would love for government not to have to play that role of, you have to be transparent. We need to see, the representation numbers and the dollar numbers and line them all up like we're doing in BC right now. Yeah. But we probably have to do something like that if we don't move the needle forward.
Yeah, if that's what it takes, then that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So over the course of your career, you've developed some truly transformational works of film. And I am very curious as to what you have on tap next in terms of project-wise. I know recently you were in my home state of Tennessee.
Yes.
Is my mom here in the audience? Debbie,
Hi,
she's
Debbie.
from Tennessee.
Woo! I love Tennessee.
And she was in Tennessee recently,
Yes.
and I was like, you're close to my mom.
Yes.
You're close to my mom.
Did I tell you about the tornado?
You did while you were filming.
That was so
yeah,
scary.
Talk to us a little
I've
bit
never
about
been
that.
in a tornado. No, it was wild. It was. If you don't believe in climate change, you just had to have been with us in December in Tennessee. You're not supposed to have tornadoes
That's right.
in December in Tennessee. It was really scary. Yeah, I always thought my life was going, it was flashing before me. But no, so I'm making Misrepresentation 2.0. It's called Misrepresentation, the Revolution. And we look at the backlash over the last decade or so post-misrepresentation, which came out in 2011 and sold to Oprah Winfrey Network and premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. We look at the backlash as relates to social media and technology that's really encumbered women's mental health, agency, leadership, and just exacerbated sexism and misogyny. And it's some of it you guys have seen little bits here and there if you're reading the news, you're paying attention, but there are going to be some really big sort of aha, connect the dots, and we're following these really beautiful, inspiring young women, and then if your typical awesome experts and academics and thought leaders, and it's really exciting, and so I'm just trying to find the time to finish it, but hopefully it'll be out in next year or 2026, something like that.
Awesome. We'll keep an eye out for it for sure.
Thank you.
So unless you've been living under a rock or really not paying attention, then everyone in here, there is an outright war on women going on right now in this country, and in many other places as well. And with everything that's going on in the state, in the country, in the world, where do you draw inspiration? And where do you find and keep hope?
So I definitely draw inspiration from nature. I think we're so spoiled, not just in the Bay Area, but in California. We have so much natural beauty, and California is a really special place. So I definitely draw inspiration from nature. I draw it from my family. I learn so much from having these young children who, life is like a really cool journey where if you didn't fix something in your adulthood, your kid's gonna expose it to you and be a mirror reflecting back to you what you need to work on in yourself. But I really get so much strength from my sisters. And I don't mean my birth sisters, which I do, but I also get it from all of you, from my best friends, from the women in my life who are, not just peers and mentors and mother figures, but who are like godmother type figures in my life. There's so much wisdom in the feminine. There's so much strength and solidarity in the sisterhood, and it literally keeps me going. And I owe everything to the women in my life, everything. Yeah. It makes me emotional, I do. And I hope for all of you that if you don't have that right now, that you seek it out, because I do feel like when you ask for it, it comes and then it's there for you, and it is the most beautiful thing. And I tease my sweet husband, he's always like, what do you guys do? Where are you? He's always so confused because there's this beautiful nourishment and just joy and joie de vivre when we're all together, and I just glean so much whenever I spend time with women who have worked on themselves, who have lived life, who have persevered, who have overcome. I feel so fed, and I just think we need more of it, and I wish for that for all of us here, and obviously with our brothers and all the men that we love and humans that we love. But there's something special that nobody can take away from us, right. And I think it's what's going to solve all these problems that we have in the world, is the sisterhood.
So I want to close with, you said you were really deliberate in thinking about the title first partner.
Yeah.
You were signaling and telegraphing to all of us and to the world, soon there will be a female governor of California.
Yes.
Soon there will be a female president of the United States.
Yes.
And one of the tasks that people have been tasked with today is to leave here with 3 action items that they're going to do between now and the election to help us save democracy. Because the cavalry is not coming, we are the cavalry.
That's right.
And once we get past, we are. And once we save democracy in 2024, of course, the next thing that's on the horizon is 2028 and the presidential election. So what I would like to know, what I think a lot of us want to know in here with respect to 2028 is, when are you running for president? Run, Jen, run. Run, Jen, run.
So cute. You're the cutest thing. Oh, so fun. Fun.
I'm serious.
You know what I will say, and I think my husband would probably say this too, because he said it politically, is you don't have to be something to do something. And that's what I want to encourage all of us. We don't have to. Like, I'm doing what I did before, but in a different way, maybe a little bit more focused on policy right now, and in partnership and with more resources and platform to partner, because we've got, the state behind us. But it's true, like, just know what you value, what you care about, what you want to change in the world, and commit to it, and just keep working at it and keep partnering. Keep partnering so that we can keep moving forward together. I think that's the only way forward. And keep backing and supporting women in political leadership, progressive women in political leadership, because it is really, really, really hard to be a woman in leadership. And we need moms, women of color, LGBTQ+ women, immigrant women. We need all of your voices at the tables of power. We need your perspectives, your lived experiences at every table of power, from school board to corporate board to the US presidency. We need that. And I will be by your side.
Give it up for California's first partner, Jennifer
Thank you
Siebel
so
Newsom.
much. Have a great day.
Thank you.